Welcome to the Rebel Love Show. We are a once-a-week broadcast from Manchester, New Hampshire. We are pro-pot, pro-gun, and pro-coffee. You can find all of our content at rebelloveshow.com. I am Mathias.
And I'm the Rebel Mistress, and I was in charge of making coffee today. You told me to surprise you. What do you think?
The coffee is fantastic.
What did you think I mixed in there?
What you mixed in there?
Yeah, I mixed something in there.
It just tastes like coffee.
Oh, it's cocaine. I'm just kidding. It's
really?
hot chocolate.
Oh.
Cocaine's expensive.
I know.
Anyway.
It shouldn't be, though.
Why not? Free market.
That's well, it's not the free market. If it was a free market, it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like cocaine's like hard to
It's
transport.
in the CIA's
then,
best interest to keep the price of cocaine high so that they can pay for all these bombs that, like, you know,
the CIA,
kill brown people on the other side of the planet.
Wait, remember that Archer episode? Okay, different story. Anyway, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was incredible. I don't even know where to begin. I was up.
Do you even remember it? It
was really hard to remember. It involved a lot of drugs and charity, so it's really hard to remember.
Oh yeah, I remember. You were like really messed up.
Which part? I was messed up a couple times.
Okay, I honestly don't remember what day it was. Like, it's hard to remember.
It is hard to remember. I mean, I literally have to go back on my Facebook feed just to remember what the fuck I did like a few days ago.
Oh yes,
it's hard to keep up sometimes.
I remember Cody O'Connor came to town, but I guess we'll get into that later. But I mean, as far as just your regular week, anything interesting? Any dates?
I did not. No, I didn't have any dates this week. What about you?
Oh, I obviously didn't have any dates.
I did. It was weird. I got a message from. I matched with this woman on Tinder, and we ended up talking on. Like, we ended up going to text message and then to Facebook. And even in her Tinder profile and on Facebook, like, she said, like, yeah, you know, me and my boyfriend, we're still new to poly, and she was saying how she's cuddled with a couple people, and that's about it. And she's
what is this, third grade?
I don't know. And I'm like, all right, well, she literally said in her profile that she is just on there to make friends because she's not ready to date.
The make friends thing.
Wasn't that no? The last episode was No,
I feel like you said that you were gonna stop talking to girls who had in their profile that
I don't remember that in her profile. I had to go back. I didn't remember.
You gotta read profiles.
I read it, but maybe she changed it after I read, or I just don't really remember. Maybe it was a time. Maybe it was during the time I was fucked up on some drug or another. Maybe that's it.
Well, what happened? Are you guys gonna go out?
Hell no.
Why? What happened?
Because
she only wants to cuddle and make friends.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, I got enough friends. I'm not on a fucking dating site to make friends. Like, who in their right mind creates a Tinder account just so that they can make friends? Like, who actually does that?
People know somebody.
Do that? Who do we know that goes on Tinder just to make friends?
That girl who I met off Tinder, who came to Pork Fest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that you named that we shall not name again?
Never again.
Why
anyway.
Not? Wait, did she ever... Wait, I got to backtrack to that. Did she ever message you about it? Because she listens to the show.
I don't think she heard that one. But anyway.
Okay. She will now. She's listening to this one.
Maybe
she'll go back in the archives. But in all honesty, I probably haven't even posted that episode yet because I'm
baseballing. But basically, there's this girl who I met on Tinder, and I liked her, and I wanted to get jiggy with it. And like on her profile it was like, oh, just looking for friends. And I'm like, oh, I never like seen that before. And this is after we have met and everything. And we're still like friends to this day. But I'm just like, I pretty much rather just have sex with you. But anywho,
what about you? Any Tinder leads?
No, I feel like I have really bad luck on like that kind of thing. Because first of all, like, it's not like I match with people.
Well, yeah, you probably match with every single person you swipe right to.
But even before, like,
the struggle is real for hot women, I tell you that much.
Okay, but listen to this. Yes, the struggle is real, especially real because everyone thinks hot women are bots. And
there's a lot of fucking spam on
and no one wants to write you first.
Tinder.
And that was the thing. Like, you didn't even write me first. I wrote you.
Because you probably were a bot.
I wasn't a bot. Obviously, I'm not a bot.
Obviously, you're not a bot. I'm just simply saying is that there are a lot of hot women who are bots on Tinder.
Yeah, but that was the thing.
I don't want to waste my time getting a message saying, "Hey, cutie, go check out this website." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but here's my thing. When I used to do Tinder, when I was single and just ready to mingle, it was like I always had to like initiate. And that's so annoying. But like it wasn't like no big deal because I was just like, yeah, sure, what's up?
Wait, did you initiate? I don't think you did. I think I messaged you. I'm willing to bet that I messaged you first.
I'm willing to bet I remember our whole conversation. You probably, if you did message me first, you said, hey. And then I responded. And then you responded. And I was like, okay, this dude keeps like talking to me and I'm so tired of it. And I said, what's your Snapchat? And then we exchanged Snapchats. And then I taught you how to use Snapchat. Yeah. And then history from there on. But I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about every other person that I talk to on Tinder. Is usually I reach out to that person first. And we can go back and look into who said hey or whatnot. But I definitely dictated the whole terms of us talking and, you know, how it's going to proceed. Because I'm a Tinder, like, I've been doing this for a while, man. Like, I know, like, the signs of, oh, my God, are we going to be talking forever? That is so boring. Like, what's your Snap?
But honestly, I haven't found you lived over an hour away. I mean.
But I didn't even know that at the time. Like, we didn't even know about each other until we exchanged Snap. And then I was like, hey, where do you live? And you were like, Manchester. And I was like, where the fuck is my location set to? Okay, whatever.
It must have really far. I had mine at like 60, 70 miles.
I usually try to keep mine within 20.
Well, no, when I was first using Tinder, like it was still becoming like a popular thing, but it wasn't huge. So like, in all honesty, I ran out of matches relatively quickly in Manchester. So I had to.
Yeah,
I had to. Like, if you live in New Hampshire, you kind of, I mean, if you're in Boston, you don't need to have it as like 70 miles because there's millions of people. But in New Hampshire, there's not millions of people. There's not that many people using the app. So you kind of have to expand your audience.
There's almost no one. And if there is someone, they're like fatty, or you just already dated them. Speaking of already dated, we missed the key fact of what happened this weekend. So we had Cody came to town. So Cody's a good friend of ours. So we wanted to have a dinner and have people out. And we went to a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And we ran into an ex.
Oh, that's right. We both. I don't know if you've ever had this situation, folks.
Everyone's had this situation.
But no, I don't think everyone's been in a triad. And then both of you running into your ex at the same time.
Not in that particular. I feel like we handled it very normally. Like it was very normalized how you handle it. Like if you run into an ex, like it's always super awkward. But then it's great because we're like a tag team. So we can just like bounce off each other. And I'm like, okay, like he says something. If he says something awkward, I know what to say next. If I say something awkward, he knows what to say next. And like we can just kind of cut it off right there. And I think we did a good job. So
I think we did a pretty good job. I will admit I was a little shocked that you didn't know what band she was in Manchester to see for that concert. Like you didn't pay attention to all about what she liked.
No, I knew she liked that band, which is why I had made okay, so first of all, we're talking about our ex who we broke up with a little bit after Pork Fest. Just because it wasn't like really.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be.
For me, it wasn't. I was just not impressed. And
see, here's one thing with you. Like your exes, you always seem to have to talk shit about them.
I'm not talking shit.
They're horrible. Blah, 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 blah. You always have to like go down, like just say it wasn't, I don't know. I just don't get that.
I'm telling the truth.
You're telling the truth?
Yeah, it wasn't that great. Okay. Just like when we broke up and you were an asshole who broke up with me over the phone. That was the truth. I just tell the truth of how I feel about someone. I don't sugarcoat it.
Okay.
All
right, fair enough. Whatever.
It is fair.
Not really, but
it is. Okay, so first of all, I feel like I have certain qualities I look for in a girl, and I don't like to settle. First of all, this girl didn't know how to like even give oral. She did like fellatio.
Look, I understand.
How can you date a girl? You don't have more like self-respect that you want to date someone who doesn't even know how to give a blowjob. Disappointing.
I will say hers was disappointing, yes. But I'm sorry, babe.
All the time, for months.
Not everyone can be on the level that we are, all right?
Yes, they can. Well, there are other people in the world.
This is your Roberts and Roberts Brokerage daily precious metals
new fucking XLR.
Trading Tuesday gold is $9 higher at $1,078 per ounce. Silver is 15 cents higher at $14.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 321 US dollars. Consider the gift of silver this holiday season. It will never go out of style, never be thrown away, and you will always.
Hey, if you're watching live and you want to help us out, donate some fucking Bitcoin, or maybe send me an XLR cable. Can too lazy to actually go buy one.
Instant and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language.
But yeah, you always
face conversation.
you go so negative with exes.
It's not negative. It's the truth. Like, I don't sugarcoat shit. Just like if I would have first met her and I knew she was horrible in bed, like I wouldn't have been like, yeah, let me just try this because it's a triad. Like, I mean, I've just like if I had sex with you and it was mediocre, you think I would have been like, yeah, let me see this guy again. It'd been like, no, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, batting on the.
You know, it is very what's what I'm looking for. It is very I feel like it's weird for us to complain about threesomes with our ex because so many people are single as it is and just want one person.
Well, they can have her.
Yeah, that's true. I love how she didn't actually go into that restaurant after we were there either.
I mean, I would like to talk about it on air, maybe.
What? You want to what?
So we can talk about it on air, maybe. I was looking for something. Oh, the show. I'm looking for something. I can't find it.
Get all your shopping done. Get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network. When you shop at Amazon,
No, but I don't think it's negative. I just think I don't sugarcoat things. Like,
Join Daryl
it
W.
is what
Perry
it
on
is.
Peace Love Liberty Radio
And
as he
it
brings
wasn't a
you
great
news, views, and
relationship.
opinions while promoting the
It's
ideas
kind of
peaceful
boring. It was
interaction.
done just for the purpose of doing it, which is fine, but obviously there's more exciting people in the world.
From the military, quote, every violation
Or we're the
of
only
law of
ones
war
and they
is
die.
a war crime. And I've had people jump on me for
I
saying
want to
that
talk about my
blowing up a
failure in
hospital
dating.
in Kunduz,
Huh?
Afghanistan
I want to talk about
that
my
was being
failure in
operated
dating.
by
Isn't it
Doctors Without
rebelloveshow.com
Borders.
/live?
I've had people jump on me for saying that's
Yeah,
a war
or
crime.
just click
Damn
on
right,
live.
it's a war
Yeah,
crime.
sure,
You
you can
blew
do
up a
that. I was just
hospital.
trying to
I
type
think every person,
What-
from the
what-
guy flying
oh,
the airplane
live.
to the guy that gave the order
Yeah,
to the guy
live.
above him, all
Don't
the way
talk to
up
me
to
that way.
Barack
Live,
Obama, need to be held accountable for their war
Live.
crimes. And I'm not going to shut up about this until something happens.
No,
Peace
no one
Love
wants to
Liberty
talk to me.
Radio, online
Not
at
boys, not
FBCRadio.com.
girls.
Did you know you
What are you
can
talking about? I
listen
want
to
to talk to you.
LRN.FM via our free-to-air
you
satellite
asked me
channels?
about dating, not
We have
like
channels
you.
over nearly all of
I don't
North
know, you always
America
ask me, I
and
was
much of
asking you.
Africa.
No,
All you
that's
need
nice.
is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees.
Well, I
Learn more
genuinely
at
ask you.
sad.lrn.fm. Plus, if
I do
you are a
genuinely- I just
broadcaster
genuinely
or
ask
want
you
to
on
be
air.
one, this is a good
Yeah.
delivery method for our
No,
content.
I'm telling
See our
you.
coverage maps and
No
get
one-
details at
Chat's kinda dead at the
sat.lrn.fm.
Yeah.
That's
No
sat.lrn.fm.
one,
Oh, two newbies just joined.
No, whenever I do it on my phone, I'm delayed. They probably were already there. No, I'm just saying, like, every time if I try to talk to a guy,
Uh-huh.
it's like very almost like
create your logo in their online embroidery design
not like
studio or
talking
upload
like
your
how
existing
you know
logo
like you
on
just talk to like a normal person. It's
corporatecasuals.com
almost like someone's
FTL,
it's like
include
they're
FTL
always
in the
trying
audios, and save
something, or it's
5%
just
on
always
your
like really mediocre or super lame, or it's never anyone I'm like super interested in. And if I am interested in someone, they're super boring, and I don't feel like talking to anyone.
It is hard
for,
to
like,
find someone that's unique.
And welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. And I am your Rebel Mistress. Before we left, we were kind of talking about my failure in the dating world, right? You know,
Well,
everyone
you're
would
not
think,
exactly a failure. Well, we got me.
well, yeah, but okay, I understand that, but that's not a very poly thing to say.
That's
but
true. That is very true. Well,
you,
you at least you've struck gold a couple times, or at least a time.
I mean, I used to date all the time. Like, I don't know how it was for you, because I know you dated people, but you kind of just dated everyone at once.
I did
right?
date a lot of people last
Yeah,
year,
But
Last
just
year
like
was a
at
lot.
once, yeah.
That was hard. I'm never gonna do that again.
Versus like I
2 or
dated
3 is max.
Yeah, 2 or 3 is a lot. Like I dated a lot of people like at once, but it wasn't like anything like exclusive. And I think like that exclusivity kind of scares people. Like even the fact that like we're engaged instead of like, oh well we're married. Like I feel like that throws people off too.
I honestly think it might be easier for us to date after we get married.
Probably.
Well, no, seriously.
No, I think that
like,
too.
I honestly think it'd be easier, not say for us. I think it'll be the same for us regardless before or after. But I think for other people that we date,
Yeah.
Because there's so much. The fact that we're getting married and everything like that, that has to be a lot for another person to take in because we have such this crazy bond and we're doing this thing that, you know, that's hard for them to like even wrap their mind around to begin with if they're not already poly. And if they are poly, like they don't want to like ruin our moments or anything. So I can find it probably the odds of us finding either one of us finding a partner or anything like that before we get married is probably slim.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely totally agree with you. And I was thinking that I was like, you know what, it will be easier after. And not that I found someone that I just super duper like, but it's just the amount of effort trying to put in to like explain everything. Like not if I did find someone who's interesting and wanted to know more, or I found someone who was already polyamorous and wanted to like be down for it. Like I said, I used to date a lot of people, but it was just much simpler because it was, you know, all casual. It was a bigger city. You're not gonna run into anybody. You do whatever you want. Like here, it's like, oh, whatever, like line you trip on, that person slept with that person and the next person after that. So it's like you're always I don't want to be in those like complicated circles either. So it's like that excludes like almost everyone in the liberty movement.
Yeah. If you're about to, you know, I'm gonna move for the Free State Project, I'm gonna move to Manch Vegas. Here's a little word of advice.
Eskimo family tree.
Yeah, don't get on it. Unless the person's absolutely
so
worth
what
it.
Is an Eskimo family tree, you asked? An Eskimo family tree is all the people that you've slept with that have also slept with someone you know. So that person that you have in common, that person that both of you guys have slept with makes you guys Eskimo sister and brother. So me and Rob are Eskimo sister and brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Multiple
or cousins.
I don't know. I think multiple times over we kind of are.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Why would it be multiple times
I don't know.
over?
I've lost track.
Maybe no. We were connected one other way before we met each other.
Okay.
And that was one girl.
Okay.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
That was the only way we were connected. I don't remember being connected to you any other way.
Okay.
We've never slept with the same person, except when we are sleeping with the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So twice, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
What if you're dating someone together? Does that make them your Do we become Eskimo sister?
I don't know. I don't even know what the exact. There's no rules to that shit.
There is rules. So there's Eskimo cousins and sisters and brothers. So we're Eskimo sisters and brothers, but we were already Eskimo sisters and brothers before we met
which is weird considering like you were living down in Boston.
I know. It was so crazy.
Yeah. Well, my advice is, unless the person's worth it, date outside of the Liberty community. Like as soon as you date one person in the Liberty community, odds are you've slept with everyone. You know, there's a connection somewhere.
Yeah,
you can go down the tree somewhere. There's a connection.
Me and Rob's one person that we slept with wasn't even in the community.
That's true.
So it's just
it is possible because New Hampshire is a small state. I mean, it is theoretically possible that she's somehow else on that tree.
Who the girl we slept with?
Yeah, why not? It's possible.
Like the girl I slept with and that your girlfriend slept with at the time? That girl?
All I'm saying is it's not really a tree. It's more like a web. It's a web of like lies and deceits that can destroy entire families if it ever got out.
Probably. But anyway, I mean, that's the other thing for me. Rob is connected everywhere in that web. I got like 1 or 2 connections.
You're connected to me, so you are now connected to everyone.
Yeah. And I have a lot of Eskimo like cousins, but like whatever. I mean, honestly,
I don't give a shit.
If there was someone attractive enough, I'd probably sleep with them. But like, no one's like coming out with offers. I don't know if people think that. People are like running up to me. Oh, you would think so. Oh, you're polyamorous. You want to go on a date? Like, no. Like, that never happens. People are always like intimidated by it. I don't know if it's polyamory, me in general, like us together. But no, you know, I think I've been hit on like once. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Just like once since we were like engaged.
No shit.
And it probably wasn't even like a hit on.
Huh.
in the community, like even when we broke up, I only got hit on by like 4 or 5 people.
That's actually, well, see, the reason being is most men in the liberty community don't know how to talk to women.
You think that's it? That makes sense.
Yeah, they're so introvert and they're not confident in themselves.
Well,
like, they're not.
I had an idea at my panel to do like classes for socially awkward people about how to pick up women, because I am the master wing woman.
You are good at getting people get people hooked up.
I get someone, like, I get an idea
really
in
good.
my head and I get that person laid. Like, that is my next step, is getting that person laid. And I've helped you out. Like, I mean, I help you anyway. I mean, I'm your fiance. Like, I help you when you go out. I'm like, oh, where are you gonna take her? What are you gonna wear? Like, stuff like that. But like, for my,
I've told people that on my date. Like when I go on a date with someone, when they ask questions,
you shouldn't tell them stuff like
why
that.
not? It's worked before.
Oh, maybe. Wait, who? But anyway, no, like, I'll help him, but for my friends, like, just like, I mean, Brock's my friend, but obviously my other guy friends, like, I'm all out for it. Like, I'll have a game plan in mind. I'm like, oh, have you met my friend? I'm like, have you met Ted? But instead, have you met my other friend? Like, when we're at the bar in Portsmouth, I'm like, look, this is what you do. In Portland. I'm like, here, this is what you do. See, you accidentally bump into that girl, say, excuse me, I'm sorry, I like your tattoo.
That would have worked.
If Portland wasn't fucking lame.
They close at like 1 a.m. Like, that's one thing that sucks with like bars in New England. Everything closes by like last call is like 1 a.m. or something like that. It should be like 3 or 4.
There was a show called The Pickup Artist where this guy in this stupid hat took people to like bars to pick up chicks. I can be your pickup artist. Like, I am good at that shit.
You should start a blog about that on the rebelloveshow.com. Do a blog about how to be a pickup artist.
I am not writing a blog, but like, if you want my personal services, you can visit the Rebel Mistress on Facebook, like my page, and then contact me directly. And I promise you, I'll try to get you laid. And if I can't get you laid immediately, we'll work on it.
You're gonna get a lot of people messaging you like, "How, Rebel Mistress? How do I get laid? I really need some."
Well, it's a lot of things you have to do. Like, first of all, you said a lot of people are socially awkward, but as we've discussed before, that is not an excuse. Especially if you're extremely socially awkward, like writing people and like, I want to see your vagina like across the room, winky face.
Yeah,
like things like that are weird. Don't do that.
Don't be weird, folks.
Hi, I'm Derek J.
What?
To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
So if you're watching a YouTube feed during the breaks, you can go to rebelloveshow.com/live. And you can interact with us live in the chat. We do monitor it, and you can even ask us a question. We might just answer it on air, possibly.
Your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost.
If we like you. I mean, if we don't like you, then we're just going to fucking ignore it because we don't give a shit. But if we like you, well, obviously,
we are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more,
we have Ellen on one day in December.
And you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call.
She's a good co-host. Not co-host, but she does good radio.
7590.
Next week is the new Movers Party, BT Dubs.
Get out of debt now.
What do you mean great?
800-981-7590.
What? Yeah, we don't have an episode next week. So next week is the new Movers Party.
Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance.
Oh my God, we're doing 4
security,
episodes in
networking,
December. Fuck.
transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud.
I don't want
and
to
be
do
an
4
early
episodes in
adopter
December.
Of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
That's way too much.
Here's a chance to do a little.
I think 3's too much. I get tired of doing this sometimes. I love doing it, but it's just sometimes it's a lot.
The hot girls, the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment.
Oh, did you want to, at some point, did you want to talk about the
our
conversations with our friends last night? Our local friends.
It's an easy way to spread
relating
the
to
ideas of
liberty,
a bit
asking us
further.
for free
I know you're
staters.
busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something.
Is that
Facebook.freetalklive.com.
no? Is that yes?
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a
A bit curious. What is he curious about?
and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom.
Lugosi, what are you curious about?
FPP also gives new authors an
I know. I didn't. Hey, Lugosi, my chat had to reload. I missed what you asked.
FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc.
He talked about me.
Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the Rebel Love Show, and we had incredible weekends of both feeding the needy, and I did too many drugs. It was a great weekend, and Shire Sharing. I know I'm prefacing Shire Sharing with drugs, which is not something I should do, but Shire Sharing is a voluntarist charity ran by our local Democrat state rep, Amanda Bolden, who is a early mover to the Free State Project, and her whole goal is every year to feed as many families as she can for Thanksgiving. We volunteered on both Saturday and Sunday. I actually have a blog post up at rebelloveshow.com talking about giving like the firsthand experience of what it was like volunteering for the charity. I actually made a video for the first day. I didn't make one for the second day because I was up for like 48 hours at that point, and I just didn't really feel like taking up my phone to make videos. I wasn't feeling it. But the charity fed over 600 families across New Hampshire. We almost died in a bus crash a couple times, and it was an incredible experience. I don't know about you, babe.
I feel like Shire Sharing was a success in the fact they only aimed to feed 500 families, and I think they fed over 600.
Over 600, yeah.
Which was awesome. Next year, I think I definitely want to take our own car.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the bus again next year.
Yeah, I still want to go and give out deliveries, but I don't really want to do the bus. I mean, it wasn't. Don't get me wrong, Shire Sharing great. You should definitely donate, and that'll help them get things like buses that won't like go out and us be stuck in Concord. But it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun part of the trip, you know, and it shows like people are willing to come and help. I think some guy who owns like a shop somewhere just came and jumped the bus for us all the way in Concord, and that was super nice. But yeah, I do not mind donating to this charity, and I feel like it's so important to point out that this is a voluntarist charity. You know, every family that was fed was because someone, you know, donated willingly. No one forced anyone to do it. No one stole from anyone to make this happen. They fed those families completely voluntarily, and it's great. It was an amazing success, and I'm looking forward to doing it next year. Like I said, we'll probably take our own car, but don't worry, we'll still take lots of pictures. And even the setting up and everything was really great. It was good exercise. I seen people there I had never seen before, and new movers, and you know, it was great to see everyone out there helping.
There were a lot of new movers there. There was, I want to say, at least half a dozen people that just moved within the last month and a half, a month, that were helping out on the first and second during the both the assembly and delivery part of the charity. It's cool seeing people that like literally just got off the boat, just got off the fucking boat, so to speak, and they're already volunteering for like different activism or charity and stuff like that. Seeing the community come together, definitely awesome. And also one of those. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, just point out, like one of the key persons who was in charge of like helping organize and set up everything was a new mover herself. Like she just had moved here, and she was like, "What can I do to get involved?" And she contacted Amanda, like, "Whatever you need from me, I can help." And she was just like an instrumental part of like helping Shire Sharing this year. And you know, that just shows like, you know, she came, she hadn't even been here for like a year, a couple months even, and she's like, let me dive head first in this and go for it. And I feel like that's amazing, because if more people start doing that, if everyone comes here with that same drive and determination and knowing there's something for everyone, you don't have to be a crazy extreme activist like waving signs in people's faces. Like you can do simple things like help this charity, this local charity, you know, the senior community. And I felt like that was a great part of it.
Well, there's so much stuff that activists can do. I mean, like for us, like we do a lot. Sometimes I get burnt out. Like I get burnt out just doing the show sometimes. But
can you explain a bit more what burnt out means?
Burnt out. All right. I get to the point sometimes where like there's episodes where I just like this, where I just got to muscle through just because I know I want to do it. But just when I first moved here, I was doing something every week. Like I literally was doing something every week. I was making videos. I was taking photos all the time. I still do that, but
yeah,
not to the extent that I was doing. But
I don't understand. Like most of your time is spent doing this.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't spend that much time doing this.
Yes, you do.
No, I may spend maybe. I've had to put on activism time frame. I was probably say I spend about, well, obviously do 2 hours of this show every week, and I probably do about 4 hours of behind the scenes work a week on this on average. Sometimes it's like 15, sometimes it's an hour. I mean, it depends on the week. And on top of that, I do stuff for the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence, but I've been really slacking on that shit.
So altogether, how much stuff do you do per week?
Per week, it depends. Some weeks it depends. There's it's like a roller coaster. Sometimes there's a lot of shit going on. Sometimes there's nothing going on. Like we went down to Portsmouth twice in a month for the Uber activism, but like we've never done that stuff.
I understand that, but do you even understand that editing the show and making those little thumbnails for hours, like that's, you know, time you're spending doing something for the show, which you're not doing something else. You're doing that because you want to put that content out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're spending like at least 10 hours of your day, like if I can say every week you spend at least 10 hours doing something for this show or something or another, like making a blog post, editing the website, then you're spending 10 hours a week doing that.
Yeah, no, I spend on average about 10 hours a week.
Okay, so how are you slacktivising it?
Because
you're always doing it.
I hold myself to a higher standard than what other people hold me to.
I don't understand what you could possibly be doing that you're not already doing. Because I feel like you work a little bit too much on everything.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Should I take a break?
I don't know. I just feel like every time I talk to you, you're like, oh, nope, gotta do something. Gotta do something for the show.
Well, I mean,
gotta lock myself in this room.
Do you know how much stuff are backlogged on this show? Like I had, like the last 2 episodes aren't out.
My God.
There's bonus. I have like 6 different things of bonus content I got put on the channel.
Even Derek J has said that you go overboard with it. You go to the extreme. You're like, if I don't put it out, like he's like, no, people will wait for your content. Like not they have to wait months, but you don't have to put something out the same day it happens, which you do, and you'll spend hours doing that. Like, not I'm arguing with him about how much activism you should do. Like, definitely put your heart and soul into it. But like, I see why people get burnt out. Like at that point, because you're saying, "Oh, I need to be doing all these thousands of other things," when you're already doing 1,000 things, and saying, "Oh, I'm not doing enough." Like that's like, it's like, how much could you possibly be doing while still maintaining a life? Because like you want to save the world, sure, but like you want to save the world so you can be happy, so you can live the life that you want to live, and part of that is living the life that you want to live. You can't like exit that part out and just say, I'm going to be super activist. Let me spend 20, 40, 30 hours a week doing this. Like,
oh no, that's way too much. I would never do. The only
time that would be the other alternative if you're like, oh no, 10 hours.
The only time I spent that much time on just this show alone was about 7 months ago when I rebuilt the website. I use a WordPress theme, but I customized the hell out of it. I put up the entire archive from like the last year and a half prior to. So that took a long time. I spent probably 40 hours that week, but that was just 1 week. No, I just wanted to get that shit out of the way so I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's why I did it that week.
I mean, if just one more time you're like, oh, I gotta work on content. I gotta go do content. Like, it's almost annoying at this point.
I tell you what, babe, if you want to,
I don't want to do anything.
I know you don't want to do anything.
Okay, well, good. We're on the same page because I'm not doing all that. Like, I understand it needs to be done, but not in the amount of like time, not in the time frame that you give yourself.
Well, I'm one of those people where I'll have these conversations with every other podcaster out there. Is if you're not actually releasing it as a podcast or a YouTube thing or anything like, especially as a podcast, if you're just literally recording on like broadcasting the LRN, that's it. It airs once, maybe like we were on an encore on I think Thursdays at 3 or something like that. But we have like one encore part, and we're also in the podcast loop. So you might maybe hear us 3 times if you get lucky. Like listen to LRN 24/7, but other than that, it disappears. And what's the point of even recording it if just someone listens to it just once and it's not an archive?
Well, you can record it and archive it and stuff, but just the amount of hours that you spend is a lot. That's all I'm saying.
You're more than welcome to pick up the slack, baby doll.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying you don't have to do so much. That's why you probably get burnt out. Because you feel like it's like more of a duty than something that you're doing because you love it and that's what you want to be doing.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said,
can you put your headphones on?
A lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind.
Why not?
On some very
important issues.
You can't hear it because you talk through the bumper.
Don't talk to me like that.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. Before we left, we were talking about what we did this weekend. It was an eventful one. Shire Sharing was a success, and all the social media that went into it, I think, got a lot of people to recognize it and want to be able to volunteer next year. So visit shiresharing.org. You know, it happens this time every year. If you want to volunteer or donate and help out next year so they can feed even more families, that would be awesome. So other than that, this weekend, like I said, Cody O'Connor came down, which is always a treat. We love Cody. He's
Came
a good
down
time.
to the studio, did Off the Air Live here from the Rebel Love Studios. Renee of the new show, The Anarchics, jumped on for the first hour right before the episode. Because both Renee and Cody, if you pay attention to their shows at all, they do a shit ton of Adderall from time to time. And never actually done it. So I'm like, why the hell not? I'll live the dream at least one time, and I'll try it out. Well, I understand why people do it. I'll admit it was a good time for a little while, but the after effect afterward, around I was up. I literally stayed up the entire night because I took it at 9:50 at night that Saturday, and I literally was up all the way until I did not fall asleep till about 7 o'clock on Sunday night was when I actually was able to go to bed. And I remember I was trying to get a couple hours sleep, or at least take a nap, like before Shire Sharing, and I literally could not. Like I was dead tired, but at the same time, I was wired at the same time.
That's an annoying feeling.
Oh my God, hugely, hugely. And I had a pounding headache for like 4 hours. Like it just would not go away. The headache, coffee wouldn't even help it.
Yeah, those are pretty much the common symptoms of taking Adderall. And like I've done it before, and it wasn't something that I really felt like was interesting. It wasn't. I didn't see what people saw in it. Like I get Adderall. It's originally for people with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD. But if you don't have ADHD, it kind of works in that reverse effect. Instead of slowing you down, it just keeps you like pumping, but not pumping in the good way. It just keeps you awake. But that's like saying, you know, I want to be kept awake through shock torture. Like, yes, you're awake, but are you really like focusing on what you need to focus on, or just the fact that you're getting shocked? And I feel like that is kind of my thing with Adderall. Like, yes, it keeps you awake, but the way it jolts you isn't something that I appreciate, that I like, that I want from my drugs. I want my drugs to make me feel good from start to finish.
No, I 100% agree. Like the after effect from it, what the coming down from it was not something I enjoyed. Like case in point, MDMA. Yeah, you're completely exhausted afterwards, but you can go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and I never had a headache coming down from MDMA.
And you're usually exhausted from just like whatever you did while you were on MDMA.
Yeah, that's probably because you're dancing your ass off for 4
Yeah.
hours in a row or something like that. And like, that's why you're so exhausted, because you've spent so much energy. I will say, like, both similarities between MDMA and Adderall is you don't pay attention to time going by. Like, you might be up for a long period of time, but the amount of time between the when you took it and when you come down feels like a blink of an eye sometimes. Like, I remember with Cody doing Adderall. I have no idea like how fast time went. Like, I remember taking it, doing the show, and somehow I was up the whole night. And from like, I would say from 11 p.m. till like 6 a.m. felt like 30 or 40 minutes. Like, it felt like 30 or 40 minutes. It did not feel like I was up for 6-7 hours in that time frame. It felt like it was all condensed to a very, very short amount of time from my perspective. I mean, you had the same effect with MDMA, but it felt more intense with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some of the side effects were just headache, dry mouth, nausea, upset stomach, digestive issues, reduced appetite, which everyone says.
Yeah,
after they take
I was
Adderall.
not hungry at all. Like, I didn't even want to eat.
Diarrhea or constipation, which is just like anxiety, restlessness, and you know what? The list just goes on and on. It changes your sex drive, like, and not for the better, because if it did, that wouldn't even be listed as just something that's a negative side effect of it. I don't like that, and that's the one thing you get with kind of prescription medicine, which is why I don't really like Western medicine, especially things that are engineered that way, because it's a drug. Big pharma is stuffing down people's throats, and yes, it has a great like kind of side effect to it where it keeps you awake, it keeps you hyper if you don't actually have the disease it's intended for, which may be great, but it's just all those side effects aren't something that I'm comfortable with. The same thing with like Tylenol, ibuprofen. Like, why do I need to move the headache from my head to my asshole? Like, I could never understand that, why people would be like, oh, let me take this heart disease pill that'll give me stomach cancer. Like, it doesn't add up for me. Like, I smoke weed. Guess what my side effects are? Hungry, happy, sleepy. That's it. That's all my side effects.
Well, no, there's side effects. You get really bad cotton mouth sometimes. That's a bad side effect. They need to fix that in pot. Someone needs to re-engineer pot so you don't have cotton mouth.
Mad needy, bro.
I'm just saying, there's side effects. That's a side effect I hate, is cotton mouth. I can't stand that.
I mean, I feel like I know a lot of people who just like overtake it, and one of the I guess if you take it for a while, it can increase like paranoia, mania in you, aggressive behavior, changes in vision, blistering skin, like hives, rash, chest pain.
I didn't have any of that.
This is for people who have like been doing it long term and with high doses. So, I mean, a lot of daintiness, or like what's it called when you're just like being silly for no reason? I don't know.
That I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's just not a drug that I feel like people should be abusing, because it could lead to coma. I'm not saying this thing is necessarily true, but I've just seen people abuse it because they're like, oh, it's not a real drug. Someone prescribed it over the counter, so it must be legit. Like, no, like it's not legit. Like, it's a drug just like any other drug. And then when you abuse it, the side effects are pretty bad. So I feel like people shouldn't take it as much as they do.
Do you think all prescription drugs should be over the counter?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because people should have a choice in what they want to take or not.
I agree. I would love to see every single drug that you can get as a prescription. You should be able just to go up to Walgreens, like, yeah, I want like 20 bottles of Adderall or whatever. Like, whatever you want to get, you should be able to buy it.
I don't, like I said, I don't like Adderall, but if people want to take it, then take it. But it's all about knowledge, Like, people should definitely educate themselves, because there's so many negative effects that are associated with it that aren't hidden. You can read them right there on the bottle. Like, people are just like, no, that doesn't exist, and that is kind of what I don't like.
I mean,
the negligence.
My big beef with it was just the coming down of it. My huge headache for a long time. It wasn't worth it. I did feel great most of the time I was on.
But you were also like super drunk.
I wasn't that drunk. I was drunk when I took it, but I kind of stopped drinking after I took it. I didn't really drink anything afterwards. I was drunk when I took it. It didn't sober me up, but it kind of sobered me up a little bit. I felt more alert. afterwards.
Like cocaine.
Yes, I would have rather done cocaine than Adderall.
And you've seen people like on Adderall for a really long time, and they're just kind of like bug-eyed. Like if we're in a picture, they look like they're in a third dimension that you're not in. And is that what you really want out of your drugs?
No, that is not what I want out of drugs at all. I want like, you look at pictures of us when we're on MDMA, like smiles on your face as much as can be. Same thing with pot and stuff like that. Like you're super happy, and you still get super happy on Adderall. I was really happy, but at the same time, I don't know. You get wired, and that's not a feeling I want to have again. I don't know. I highly doubt I'll ever take it again.
You don't think so? Not even up your nose. The first time I did it, I snorted it.
Never say never. I mean, there's a possibility I will do it again.
Wait, how did you even take it?
Wait. We have pot. Where the fuck did you get that? Though we're out.
I just made this.
You just made that for you. What about me, babe? What about me?
Anywho,
she lied to me, people. She told me that we were out, that we were going to have to do a show potless, which is not the Rebel Love Show. We smoke pot every episode.
I didn't. You just don't listen to anything I say.
I listen to most things that you say. It may not be everything, but
okay, well, yeah,
I listen to everything. Yeah, I do. Well, maybe you need.
How did you take the Adderall?
It was a pill. It was a time release pill too.
When we come back, what happened on Hotel? We'll never know.
Yeah, go watch it because I forgot. The long break.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems, the right way, the first time, so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is $9 higher at $1,078 per ounce. Silver is 15 cents higher at $14.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $321. Consider the gift of silver this holiday season. It will never go out of style, never be thrown away, and you will always be remembered. Call Roberts & Roberts at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Instead of just listening, you can also watch. See the Liberty Radio Network's key New Hampshire-based live shows via our studio cam at cam.lrn.fm. Plus, you'll still be able to listen to the Liberty Radio Network via the cam feed in high quality 24/7, even when there's no live show being produced in our Keene studio. But wait, there's more. Our chat room is built into the cam page so you can interact with other listeners online. Listen, watch, and chat, all free at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm. More Rebel Love Show is next, live after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 24th, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.21 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,079 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $325. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon announced on Monday a dramatic escalation of its training operation in Ukraine, moving from its small training mission for Ukraine's National Guard to a direct training program for Ukraine's regular military forces, as well as special operations troops. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has made it clear he sees the purpose of the training as to learn how to beat Russia, and the escalation of this training toward combat troops is likely to add some tension to U.S.-Russian relations, with Poroshenko openly envisioning his country as the staging ground for a global war on Russia. Russian officials are downplaying the seriousness of the program so far, however, with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov citing the disastrous state of the U.S.-trained armies in Iraq and Afghanistan as proof that U.S. training won't be a real game changer. The U.S. plan now is to train 5 battalions of Ukrainian troops, along with a battalion of special forces. The training is centered in western Ukraine to avoid any risk of direct U.S. involvement in the civil war in the east, which is in a state of ceasefire at any rate. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the U.S. Department of State on Monday issued a worldwide travel alert recommending that American citizens avoid travel in some regions abroad due to increased terror threats. The department did not detail any specific threat, but simply warned citizens that growing unrest and recent attacks make traveling overseas more risky. The alert said current information suggests that the Islamic State, aka Daesh, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, and other terrorist groups continue to plan terror attacks in multiple regions. These attacks may employ a wide variety of tactics, using conventional and non-conventional weapons and targeting both official and private interests. The State Department said its concern is not only for major terrorist factions, but also for lone wolf attackers who draw inspiration from groups like the Islamic State or Al-Qaeda, and recent attacks have only added to officials' concerns. The State Department alert also said extremists have targeted large sporting events, theaters, open markets, and aviation services. In the past year, there have been multiple attacks in France, Nigeria, Denmark, Turkey, and Mali. The Islamic State, Daesh, has claimed responsibility for the bombing of a Russian airliner in Egypt. The department also urged U.S. travelers to register for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, which provides information and updates regarding various threats. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the San Francisco City Attorney's Office on Monday sued a company it said worked with security guards in retail stores to extort shoplifting suspects into paying hundreds of dollars for a supposed educational program to avoid jail time. The civil lawsuit filed against Utah-based Corrective Education Company, or CEC, said the company offers a pretrial diversion program to rehabilitate misdemeanor offenders instead of having them arrested or receive a criminal record. The lawsuit said CEC does not comply with laws governing such programs and operates without the involvement or knowledge of the criminal justice system. According to the suit, CEC's program also violates state extortion laws, falsely imprisons accused shoplifters, and runs afoul of other regulations. The attorney's office said security guards at participating retailers have taken shoplifting suspects, as many as 20,000 people, into isolated areas where they induced them to sign contracts admitting guilt and had them agree to pay $500 for a 6-hour behavior modification program. The lawsuit also contends that CEC has paid retailers and security companies for each enrolled student to encourage participation. A representative for CEC who was reached by phone said the company had no comment. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Department of Health and Human Services has issued a new ban preventing the nation's saunas from any further use of tanning salons. The ruling was made after a study found that saunas are exposed to roughly 5,000 times more UV radiation each year than the average American.
They are at a very high risk of developing melanoma and orangey leathery skin. Saunas, you are tan enough.
The nation's Shaunas have reacted negatively to the ban.
I don't care what the government says. I just won $15 in scratches, so I'm getting a freaking tan. This sucks.
None of us have time for this. We've got Tammys at home to raise.
In an Onion News Network poll of Shaunas across the country, more than 30% argued that a pale complexion will negatively affect the size of their tips at Ruby Tuesdays. And more than half have said that their boyfriends Dennis like them tan. And he's the father of their second child, so they want him to stick around.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. And during the weekends, went and saw the Hunger Games. Took an edible during it too, which made it fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that movie.
That's
rocked.
probably why you can't remember Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, what day was that?
That was Friday.
Saturday. That's why you can't remember that day.
I can't remember Saturday because of Friday.
I don't remember what happened on Friday. Okay.
Friday we saw Hunger Games.
And then Saturday you did Adderall?
Yeah, on Off the Air Live with Cody O'Connor.
So you weren't hungover at all on Friday? Or were you?
Was I hung over?
Did we drink after that?
I don't believe we drunk on Thursday because I would have to been hungover.
No, I mean,
Friday.
did we drink on Friday?
Did we drink on Friday?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I don't know why it's so foggy. But anyway, we went to go see The Hunger Games, which coincidentally is one of my fave movies.
Yeah, you love The Hunger Games.
I have a giant poster hanging in our bedroom. The reason I love it so much is, well, when I first went to Boston, I went to Pine Manor College, which is a liberal arts school, small, private, 4-year. It was all girls until like my sophomore year. And my freshman seminar, which escalated all the way from there, was Heroes and Heroines, Quest for Identity. And it focused on the Hunger Games and Harry Potter. So when I first came, I hadn't even seen the Hunger Games, actually. I didn't, and it had been out for like a year or two. I hadn't seen it, and I heard about it a little, but I didn't really know other than this class. And so my teacher, who was just a teacher at the time, coincidentally, she's the dean now. She gave me all the books that she had, and she told me, to read them. And I did. I read them in a month, all of them, the whole entire series. And from there, she asked us to do like character analyzations, and only the first movie came out. So that was my freshman year. So my sophomore year, because you take this class until your senior, and then you eventually write your thesis or whatever. So my sophomore year, I took the class, and then we saw the second movie. So I really had something to like compare it to, because I had already read all of the books by that point. And what I liked about the Hunger Games, not just because I love dystopian realities, I love the Hunger Games because it showed this person who people were identifying as like this hero. But when you read the books, these are cold, hard war books, which it really doesn't seem that way until the third book, which is everyone hated the third book. It was like all this controversy around it. And that was what the class was about.
What was controversy about it?
Just it was for children. The Hunger Games was written for children. It was supposed to be a children's novel. I know that sounds weird, right?
All of it was?
All of it.
Oh.
It was supposed to be a children's novel. It wasn't, something on a college reading level. But the context of the book is very dark, and as you see in that movie, very dark and deep. And to think that they wrote this book for children, that was kind of the controversy, and no one liked the third books because it was supposed to be for kids, and that wasn't really something I understand now that they could grasp, which is why they weren't liking the book. And when I read the third book, I was amazed and astonished by it. And this is even before I found the Liberty Movement. I'm going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen the end, but this book was supposed to be for children, and they weren't liking it. They didn't know what it was about. So I was anticipating the third movie coming out, but since I had already read the third book, and we were supposed to be identifying like this heroes because that was the name of the course, and we're defining heroes. What is a hero? And the hero is, classically defined as the selfless person doing selfless acts for the greater good. type of person, just this selfless person, which Harry Potter was. Like, we can go on an analysis, like the whole nine. He's a hero. He did it all for the greater good. He risked himself. Which there's a whole fandom behind Harry Potter. But Katniss was just this different kind of person who kind of was suffering this mental breakdown. She had post-traumatic stress disorder. She was like balding. Like, this is the first time you see this hero portrayed so weakly. And she let her emotions get the best of her, and she wasn't selfless, and she didn't really do anything for herself. You know, she didn't want to do things because she just didn't want to give herself to this revolution. She didn't want to be the symbol for this revolution. She was kind of being forced to, and she refused. Actually, in the second book, that's what the second book is about. Her, discovering she's the Mockingjay, but it wasn't like that. It was her slowly having a nervous breakdown, preparing to go to war, and she was in this ring killing people, and that kind of brought out the beast in her, and that's what those books were about, which is why I became fascinated with them. Just the fact that it shows that kind of inner darkness in a person, and showing that she embraced it because not that she had to. So I'm going to get into the third book here, because this is the movie that we saw. The fourth book, because it's part 2. It really didn't depict the other side of the war, which I didn't like. In the books, it really goes into war. Like I said, the last 2 novels are about war. And it's about her killing people. Like, it wasn't just, I'm going to kill President Snow and his army. It was just, I'm going to kill him, whoever gets in my way, who's ever on the opposite side of the revolution. That person is going to die. And not in this way of like, oh, it's necessarily self-defense, because she killed people who were unarmed. She killed people like who were screaming, like, just for help or something. Like, there's a whole scene where she's breaking into like a rebel's house. I'm sorry, someone from the Capitol's house, to kind of take refuge because they're in war times. And she breaks into the lady's house. The lady screams. She didn't blink. Arrow through the head. And that was Katniss. She had been through this stuff. She would kill. If this lady's screaming, we're trying to hide here, this lady's gonna die, Yeah. And it was no in between. It wasn't cold, it wasn't calculated. It was like, this is survival, and it showed the animal instinct. And I guess that's why I love the book, because nothing like that had no ever hero tale can you read me that shows you a hero, which she still can be described as to this day in that manner, just kind of so weak and breaking down and vulnerable. And it makes you connect with this story of the revolution so much better. It makes you understand like why she has to do the things that she's doing, like that it has a deeper philosophical meaning. And I don't know if you've been looking at some of the ads, memes on Facebook. They're like, oh, Katniss talking about the revolution, and all you guys are like, yay, while you're voting for like Bernie Sanders. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of those.
No, I haven't seen any of those at all.
Well, it's just like people are just saying, oh, like, how can you root for this like Katniss? Because everyone is, muggles and all, movie theaters will be packed. Like, people love this shit.
That's one thing I never understood, is so many people, like so many statists, like they will root for obviously the good guys, like the people that are, standing up to the government, the people that are trying to overthrow the government. Those are always the heroes in movies. Yet when we speak of the actual real world, they decide to side with the enemy. Like, they become the statists that they are, and they side with like, well, we got maybe we can change it from the inside. Imagine like in Hunger Games and like having these conversations over the dinner table in that movie or the novels or whatnot, and them talking about, well, maybe if we just get some people into the Capitol, they won't treat us like slaves and like put bullets in our heads for not cooperating with them.
Okay, yes, and I totally agree with that statement. But also, I feel like the Hunger Games did do a good job of kind of saying, that won't work. And the ending of the Hunger Games, when she kills President Coin, who wanted to make the new Pan Am, so that kind of shows both sides of it. Not can you, let's get one of the rebels into the Capitol and try to get it to change. Let's take down the Capitol and let's make a new one. That's not going to work either. More when we come back.
What you want to come back to?
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm.
This past Armistice Day, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage celebrated the end of war by putting their money where their heart is, donating the profit of that day's sales to antiwar.com. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage is making this offer again on Bitcoin Black Friday, November 27th. Shop online at rrbi.co on Black Friday, and Roberts & Roberts will donate the profit of the day's sales to antiwar.com. Antiwar.com is committed to exposing that wars abroad become wars at home. Roberts & Roberts has been your trusted source for precious metals for nearly 40 years. They are anti-war and pro-free market. Banks drive wars. Why use their money? Invest in silver, gold, and Bitcoin and exit the corrupt system that enables war. When you're serious about precious metals, shop Roberts & Roberts online at rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. Before we left, I was going on my philosophical rant about the Hunger Games and why I love it so much. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll just sum it up to say, like, the Hunger Games deals with a lot of not just, revolution, which is great, but it deals with a lot of moral aspects of like a revolution and what kind of person that makes you, after either you're forced to kill someone else or it's to a point where you have to kill someone else. And I feel like that really makes you think of what kind of toll that takes on a person. But it just also makes me think about just this kind of darkness and lightness in everyone and how it's always this constant battle. But I think what you feel is right wins out in the end for everyone. So even like I said, Rob was on brownies when we were watching the movie and he had never seen the ending. And I kept whispering to him, you're going to love like this part, which sounds so fucked
It
up.
definitely stood out, but to be perfectly honest, I don't remember much of how they got to there. It seemed like they're at one moment they're talking about going to the front line and then they were there, like literally, captured the Capitol. Like it happened so quickly, and I feel like they washed over a lot. And I hated I hated in that movie how they portrayed the look of the Capitol. Like they portrayed the look of the Capitol like to be so elegant and over the top in the first movie, and even in the second movie. In the third, it just all it was like walls of like nonstop like buildings, and it just seemed to me just weird. I don't know. I didn't like the way they made it look, how they jumped to the end. There wasn't there throughout 1 and 2, there's all these scenes that I always recalled where like they knew, like Katniss and others, they knew if they keep going forward, odds are they're gonna die. Like that's just going to happen. And I didn't feel like that was in this movie. I felt like everything they're doing was inevitable and it's just gonna happen. Like, and yeah, there's a plot twist at the end, but and it didn't feel like this won't happen.
I feel like definitely the movie didn't portray a lot of things that I would have liked it to have. And I don't know if that's Hollywood or what they're trying to make it seem like or how that goes, but they skipped through a lot. Like the fact that they took down a whole like military base. Like you don't think the Capitol has a military base? Like they showed them playing one of the game makers games, but they had to take down a volcano with a military base in it. And that's something they skipped out. They just like left that whole part out of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, like there's moments where in this movie where oh god, like the part where like they had like the weird like mutant people like flying at them as like a game simulator or something like that. Like why didn't they just do that at the beginning of the revolution? Like I don't understand that. Like if you had that weapon, why didn't you just use it
the mutts? So basically with the mutts, you could even make the argument they were using biological warfare at that point. But I feel like, first of all, I didn't explain enough in the movie that they had a lot of tactics, but they were kind of cocky about it, which they kind of did show you a little bit of, oh no, the government's just too cocky. That's why they don't beat me with this game. Yeah, the government's way too cocky. Like they were treating it like it was a game instead of a war, and that they were going to win this war until the end of it, basically. And they didn't really do a good job of portraying that in the movie, but they did a great job in the books, because even how they gave them PETA back. Like, so you may not remember this part, or I don't really know how it was explained in the movies. I don't remember, but they basically did all this shit to him, gave him back to the rebels as a gift. So they were like, here's your gift back. But that kind of symbolizes something. Like if you have a prisoner of war and, you're going to torture that person in exchange for something, yes, you gave him back a killing machine, but you're kind of giving him back as like a ha-ha. And that was kind of Snow's game the whole time. So he was always treating it like a game. And the mutts and the hybrids and stuff, like they had those and they were using them before. The mutts were in the games. Those dogs in the beginning of the first Hunger Games, towards the end, those were mutts. Those were genetically modified, and they had the eyes of everyone who had died in the arena. Everyone who had died was a simulation of those dogs, and they didn't
Okay.
really go into that, and they didn't really go into this. Like those mutts they released in the sewers, there's a scene they're listening, and you call them mutts because they're hybrids of people. Like he literally stole PETA's like eyeballs, replicated them, his voice, put them into this like mutt creature, and released them in the sewers, which was just like one of the grossest scenes. But it kind of shows like they literally will stop at nothing, first of all, and they think it's a game, which is really how they lost in the end. And we go back to the plot twist. Like, yeah, it's a plot twist, but I feel like that is what was always meant to happen, and it's a very important piece because they got rid of Snow. Yes, Snow. But it really shows, Snow's not that important at the end. In the end, it's the person who's trying to take over his place, who's saying, oh, I'm going to create a new society. I'm going to create a better society. I feel like it's just voting harder at that point. Oh, yeah, we're going to vote harder, and we're going to get someone new in there, and he's going to change everything, after they just had to literally overthrow this whole tyrannical government to begin with. And then they elect someone new, or, well, whenever she comes to terms, and then Katniss kills her. She doesn't kill Snow. She doesn't even look at him she was going to kill Coin from the beginning because she is something that's representing murder and death, and that was something she was tired of.
Did she really represent that? I mean, no, honestly, this woman was the leader of the revolution. Like, Katniss was just a figurehead. She was just used as propaganda. She wasn't the one organizing everything. She was the one fighting the fucking Capitol for decades.
She wasn't fighting the Capitol for decades. She was.
I thought District 13 or 14, whatever, had been fighting for 75 years since or 80 or 75 or something, like when they wiped out that district. When
they wiped them out.
They've been underground for like decades.
They wiped them out, and they agreed to leave them alone because they had nukes. That was their nuclear base. So they agreed to leave them alone because they had nukes, and they kind of had a truce until Katniss came into play, and then they were like, okay, now we can strike and start a rebellion. So it was Katniss who started the fire, and I agree with you 100%. She is not the hero that they wanted her to be, that she's painted out to be in these movies. She was very much a selfish person, very much so, and she's even said that, like, she got countless people killed, like, and I feel like people don't want to portray that. They want to see her as this like epic hero because that's what they want people to focus on, and not the real point of the movie, which is, a rebellion is not just to get someone else, like another tyrannical leader. A rebellion is to change this killing and change this death. Coin wanted to keep the games, even if they were changing the people in the games.
Yes, well, and honestly, I can't really blame her. I mean, look how many people that the people in the Capitol killed and enslaved for decades and generations.
So their children should have to pay for that? You believe in mass
No,
murder
no,
on
no,
children? Like, yes, the Capitol
the Capitol deserved everything they got, though.
The Capitol deserved a lot of things they got, and they were really spoiled. Yeah. And so are we. So you know what? When they start dropping nukes on us, I just hope you remember that.
Yeah, we should have already overthrew the government by now. I agree.
Okay. We're gonna talk about morality when we come back. My new blog. I might read a line or two for you when we come back.
According to a report released this week, people who paint themselves silver and pretend to be statues earn, on average, $10 million per year. The Onion sat down with economist Mark Cosgrave to learn more about the money-making potential of this highly lucrative employment path.
There's no more profitable career at the moment. If you compare these positions to other high-paying jobs, say physicians or mechanical engineers, you'll find that those individuals who have outfitted themselves with silver-painted boxes and can move their limbs stiffly as if they were a robot are making literally hundreds of times as much. At this point, I would say that the only job that offers anywhere near that kind of earning potential is dressing up like Batman and allowing people to pose for photos with you. And those guys who play paint buckets like drums have historically done well for themselves. But honestly, the recession hit these professions pretty hard, and a lot of them are only making something like $800,000 a year at this point. It's barely even worth their time.
This is the Onion News Network.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 85% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. If you're a regular reader of freekeene.com, you know there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. And my baby doll here has put her pen to the paper, or should I say her finger to the keyboard, and released a blog not too long ago on rebelloveshow.com. What was that all about, babe?
Yeah, sorry, guys. I can't even think right now. I released a blog. It's called, the name of my actual blog is called Sex, Drugs, and Anarchy. So I've posted an article on there before, which I'm trying to go to it right now. It should be on my page. Just go to the rebelloveshow.com, then click on the Rebel Mistress. So the latest one I wrote is Morality Conscious, is basically me going crazy, as I always am, because I'm always curious what people think about morality, more precisely, war, things like that, and what they actually think about murder. Because it's not a question that a lot of times we ask ourselves unless it's just something we're faced with directly, like what are our morals, what are our values, because I believe it's not something that comes from a book, even though a lot of people are like tied to this idea that morals and values are taught or are somehow coerced into you through religion, which I think maybe that could have sway of some sort, but ultimately who you choose to be as a person is up to you. And that's what I think about morality. So I wrote this blog, and it's kind of questioning people's choices, and do we feel like we're confident enough to make our own? Because if we're not confident enough to make our own and we feel like someone needs to make those choices for us, how dangerous are the people that we're around? Because that to me just doesn't add up, that we need someone making these choices about what's right or what's wrong. Because if we do, and we can't just find those choices. If I have to ask you, will you hurt me? Will you? I'm sitting next to Rob right now. Rob, if this law didn't exist, if some guy didn't write down on a piece of paper that you shouldn't beat me, or you shouldn't murder me, you shouldn't hurt me, whatever, rob me, rape me, whatever. Someone wrote that down on a piece of paper. The same person erased that and said anything goes, or said nothing. Does that mean that you're gonna beat, rape, and murder me right now?
You'd be surprised how many statists will argue the fact that they would. I've had multiple philosophical conversations with statists where they literally will say that the only thing holding them back is like this belief in this, that someone wrote down on a piece of paper that someone shouldn't steal. They literally believe that, they always use the word anarchy in the streets, but they really mean chaos in the streets. That because if there isn't a piece of paper that says you can't steal or you shouldn't murder or something like that, people would do it all the time because there wouldn't be any consequences to it, and blah, 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 blah. And it's one of those things like you're saying, like for morality, like I'm not going to murder someone or steal from someone because that's not the right thing to do. I'm not doing it because someone somewhere, probably from a man long since dead, wrote down on a piece of paper that you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't understand. I never understood that argument that people would make, that like, there's going to be murder everywhere because if you got rid of that law, people would do it.
Yeah. And that is not to say, I don't think some people are just completely batshit crazy, insane, who might just want to murder people. Guess what? If that is the case, they're probably going
or cops for that matter. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but my point is, even just about people, civilians, is, if that is the case, they're gonna murder you anyway. Like, that person is dark. They have chosen darkness. There is no law. There is nothing that is gonna stop that person from trying to hurt you other than you at that point, because I feel like morality is a choice. So that way, just like I feel like people can choose to be peaceful, I feel like people can choose to intentionally, to choose to shut out that and be dark and, have these dark tendencies. And I think that does exist in people. But to say, I think that's very few. Is the point I make in my article. It's not the masses who murder people on a daily basis. Like you said, it's the cops, it's the military, it's those people who are killing people on a daily basis because first of all, because they can, and second of all, because they're your law. They're the people who are in charge of killing you, according to other. And I don't see how that adds up and makes sense. These are the people who are initiating force and violence for a cause. It's not you. It's not me. It's not our neighbor. These aren't the masses who are these like psychopaths. It's just a select few. And I feel like that's the point I argue. I don't feel like most people are consumed by this darkness, and we see that every day. And if we were, we'd give in on all of our impulses. We've all been pissed off before. We've all like, oh my god, Dunkin' Donuts gave me the wrong coffee. Do you back your car back and like into the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot and go throw your boiling coffee on the lady? No. That never happens. You move on with your day, because guess what? Like there's so many chances that you have to do something negative or do something hateful or do something evil. That's not natural. That's not a human instinct to want to hurt somebody. And that's why people just don't murder people and like, okay, yeah, that was cool.
Well,
walk away from that.
People do get vengeful though. Like people do, like if something happens to them, they gotta have some sort of justice and swing it right back.
Like,
at
what
them
do you
harder.
mean?
Well, if someone stole from you, you're gonna want to go steal from them. If someone beat somebody up, you're gonna want to go beat them up. You want tit for tat, eye for an eye. Like people follow eye for an eye a lot.
people.
And they'll use violence to achieve those means, but they're doing
really?
it. They're doing it as a yes, really.
I feel like that's some people, yes, but that is not like the example.
But that's a reaction from somebody else originally.
Yeah, but that's not the example that I'm giving, because yes, I get some people do maybe follow this eye for an eye, but back to the coffee, I'm talking about on smaller scales here, because I'm talking about individual liberations, and why I think we can self-govern ourselves is because when you do get mad at that cup of coffee, yeah, you want to be vengeful, but you don't back your car up, you don't go in Dunkin' Donuts, you don't throw boiling coffee all over that person. Yes, that's something smaller, but that still is a choice. You know, you have the choice to be vengeful. Like Chris Cantwell, I love this example, actually. You know, if you stole his paper clip, he thinks he has the right to kill you. But would he? Would you kill someone over your paperclip just because you could? Is the question I'm asking. Not, you know, is it possible? Yeah, sure, anything's possible. Everyone wants to be vengeful. Maybe someone does want to steal from someone who stole from them. But a lot of people, like, I think, if someone stole from me, my first instinct is I don't want to steal from the other person. My first instinct is that person probably needed it more than I did. And I said that every day throughout college. I left my doors open. I've known poverty. So, you know, my views of like that eye for an eye are so much lower, because I feel like there's so many chances to choose something positive than to choose something negative. I don't feel like most people just jump to that negative thing, or else no one would ever get a wallet back that they left on the subway, or we found some guy's social security card. You know, someone researched to find this guy to tell them they dropped it. They spent their whole evening doing that. And it's those little good things that I see in humanity that I see in my friends, that I see in everybody. I see these little good things in everybody, these nice choices that you're making on a daily basis that lets me believe that you're confident enough to the point where you don't need someone to write on a piece of paper what you can and can't do, because I've seen those little things in you. Yes, we're all humans. We have flaws. Like I said, yes, there's always darkness, but there is always light. And those are things that comes with love, happiness, empathy. We all long to be together and with each other, and we follow that more than we follow hatred.
No, love always will prevail.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain, I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1, let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is $9 higher at $1,078 per ounce. Silver is 15 cents higher at $14.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $321 US. Consider the gift of silver this holiday season. It will never go out of style, never be thrown away, and you will always be remembered. Call Roberts & Roberts at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. Before we left, we were talking about my new blog post on my blog, Sex, Drugs, and Anarchy, which you can find on the rebelloveshow.com, and then just click on the Rebel Mistress, and you can see all my latest blog posts and propaganda, which I may be coming out with. Who knows?
A propaganda post?
I got some stuff in the works. You don't know me. Okay. Anyway,
I don't know you. I think you know pretty damn well, babe.
So just kind of the last point I wanted to hit in my blog post is morality conscious. I kind of just point out, that some things are natural, and the things that are natural are love, empathy, things like that. We don't have a problem kind of letting that light into us. It's easier to let it in. Only time we have to use an effort is to keep it out. And then when we start looking at things that way, that we have a choice to let bad things in or keep bad things in, and not just us, but everyone has this choice. And that kind of makes us look at things like peace, because people treat that like it's something for artists or, just people in make-believe land. No, it's not. It's not just something used to describe a situation. Peace is something that can be possible when we start looking at war for what it is, and it's violence, it's extreme violence, it's murder, it's death, and that's precisely what war is. And we can't look at it as anything but, because people will try to tell you, the media will try to tell you, it's something that's natural, it's something that happens with every we
have to have troops all around the world. We have to be bombing countries left and right.
Yeah, and
we're defending freedom,
and that freedom that we're defending is over a lot of dead bodies. And I feel like people don't look at war that way. People just look at it on such a surface level, and they don't see the blood, they don't see the darkness, they don't see, the dead babies.
Well, it ain't we, and it sure as hell ends in defense of freedom. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, no we. But anyway, so the kind of question that I asked in the blog that I think that I really wanted everyone to ask themselves is, what choices would you make if you had the choice? And I feel like that's the question. That's what I said. That's the question. What choices would you make? And I'm asking that as if, you know, you have a choice, because right now they're trying to tell you that you don't. And no one should be able to take that choice away. No one should be able to tell you you don't have choice.
It always amazes me how so many people work for the state and take away those choices from other people. Like people who like work for the prison industrial complex, or, you know, people who are the ones responsible for being drone pilots and killing people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the people sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, look for it, to want to be hired to work, to like, imagine being someone that works at like a jail, and literally your responsibility is to make sure that there's people that are put like stay in cages for mostly victimless crimes. Like that is your job. You wake up to go do that.
And that's the point I just want to make, that like we need to change the way we think. We need to start thinking about things in those terms and on less of a mediocre term. If morality is conscious, how can we pretend we are obedient to forces beyond ourselves?
The problem,
we can't. Like, it's up to us. It's up to you and me at that point. The choices we make from here on out, knowing that those are our choices, we are responsible for those actions.
But those people are just trying to take care of their family, take care of their kids, put food on the table.
And none of that matters.
They're just doing their job, babe. They're just doing their job. Let them do their job. You know, someone's got to do it.
Yeah, but you know, they definitely still have to take responsibility that just doing their job, how many people that hurts or even kills. And I think that is my blog post, and you should read it. You should tell me what you think about morality. You know, maybe some people think people don't have choice. They shouldn't have choice. If people have choice, we're too dumb. We'd all be in this situation. But if that's your argument, then if we're too dumb, then you realize that you're voted for another human who's just as dumb.
If people are too dumb to make decisions for themselves, how in anyone's logical mindset is it possible that it's okay for other people
to make decisions for you?
But yet we're smart enough to vote for those people to make those decisions, which also, again, it goes against its own logic. Because if you're too dumb to make decisions for yourself, how can you even have a vote for someone else that can make that decision? Like, I never understood that logic from status. Like, people, you know,
it's not logic. It's like the guy who said Uber runs ISIS, and if slavery was legal, his grandson would be his slave. Because people aren't using logic. We need to change the way we think. And by that, I mean, we need to think for ourselves and, you know, put those two and two together. And, you know, I think it's like Ron Paul said, as I always say, when you start looking at freedom, like, who wouldn't want to be free? It's not something that's appalling, that's disgusting. Like, you just have to really think about it. Like, who owns you? Who gets to make choices for you? The answer should only be you. It should be no one else.
It's shocking that sometimes you have those conversations and you see, you know, it's as if you're saying something new that no one's ever really thought about. Like, yeah, you know what? The drug war does suck. I own my body. Someone can't tell me what I can put in my body. You know,
yeah, but they
fuck
do.
The FDA for telling people what, you know, making rules and regulations of what I can or cannot, you know, purchase.
And I think their argument is, because we had dinner with a few friends last night who are in the community, I think their argument is, you know, we're just gonna do it anyway. But yeah, I get that. But do you realize that there are people in jail for just doing that anyway? There are people behind cages. Like, it may not be you, but like, do you think anyone should be behind a cage, like losing their life because of the drug war? And the answer should always be no.
One thing I always try to do is, whenever someone is you know, proposing something or advocating that there ought to be a law and anything like that, whenever someone's kind of advocating their point to me, I'm going to jump to the end, like, and I'm actually going to put them in their shoes. Like, so, okay, if you think that's cool, are you willing to carry that out? Are you willing? You know, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not going to follow that rule. I'm not going to hurt I'm not going to hurt another human being, but I don't consent, and I'm not going to go along. Or what are you going to do about it? You know, are you going to be the one that will I actually had this argument with coworkers at one point at a party, and one person's like, yeah, you know, if you don't pay taxes, you know, you should be arrested. I'm like, well, all right, would you literally kidnap me, put a gun to my head, and take me and put me in jail? So I would never do that. It's like, oh, okay, so you're gonna hire someone else. You're gonna hire another human being to do the exact same thing. You're gonna pay them to do it because that's beneath you. You don't believe in doing that. You can't do it, but you're okay having someone else do it. Like, I never understood that logic either. I always try to make it personal. Like anytime someone is literally advocating violence, they're advocating on a mass scale and they don't even realize it either.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. That's my bet too. I mean, I'm just a little extreme. I just say things for what they are. And when you really just like spell it out, like spell a lot of these things out. Taxes, spell taxes out. The government stealing money from you each and every paycheck.
Whether you think it's a good idea what's going for or not,
Yeah, and
they're still stealing. If you know what happens when you don't pay.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we're about to go probably off in like a minute, but I mean, I had a friend. She had a thing where someone cut her in line to buy Mountain Dew at food stamps and asked if she could buy beer with that, and she was like, "I can't believe my tax dollars are going for that." And I'm like, "Yeah." Exactly. That's exactly what you shouldn't be able to believe, that you're paying for this lady's Mountain Dew right now. How do you feel about that?
See, I'm more concerned the fact that they're stealing my money to kill people around the world in my name. I'd rather have that money go to buy beer for homeless people than killing people on the other side of the planet.
I'd rather be able to make the choice. I'd rather not my money be going to some bitch buying Mountain Dew in line. I'd rather my money not be going to bombing brown people.
Saying, compared to the two, I'd rather have that be the one than the
I'd
other.
rather have neither. They're both on the same fucking scale.
You would consider on the same scale.
Yeah.
Giving a Mountain Dew to like some white trashy person is on the same scale as bombing millions of people and bombing like hospitals in the Middle East.
They forced me to give this lady money. They stole money from me to put in her pockets, and then they stole money from me to use that same money to bomb people. It's the same dirty money that they stole from me, going to do things that I didn't consent to.
Okay.
I mean, I get that one's more extreme than the other. Yes, of course. But
one's used to murder someone, one's used to feed someone.
Okay, feeding someone, buying them beer.
It's still giving them substance, giving them a food.
I've been on
sort.
food stamps, and I still don't believe people should get food stamps. So if that says anything,
I'm not advocating food stamps.
I mean, that's what it was. It was food stamps. So I mean, feeding someone, like, it's not my responsibility. As fucked up as it probably sounds, it's not my responsibility to do that. That should be my choice.
I agree.
And it's not. So it's on the same scale for me. But I mean, I plan on writing more blog posts, and I hope you will read them and comment and let me know what you think. So. And
if you're paying attention to the podcast feed, at some point I actually plan to put out, we have a bunch of bonus content. I got all the talks we did at Convention. I have a couple episodes that we've been on that haven't aired yet. So I do plan to put bonus content out. Make sure you go subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher, and go check us out on YouTube if you're listening at home. So peace, guys.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market, making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking.
Disconnected.